results into scarcity of water, availability of water, even the moisture of the soil is lost. This condition is known as drought. Now, basically it is the result of failure of rainfall. Otherwise, if we have the alternate sources whereby we can provide the water through dams or reservoirs, by the channels of canals, if we supply it, agricultural work can be carried on. Now, due to this absence or no rain, there is a total dryness and it causes drought. In the case of drought, there is a scarcity of food because agricultural cultivation work cannot be carried on. That is also directly or indirectly affecting each and every one within the country. Then we have cloudburst. You must have heard about this term. Basically, cloudburst means it is a condition it is a condition in which there is a sudden and extremely heavy rainfall in a short period of time. You can well imagine, suppose the total amount of rainfall in an area which is received in a month's time, that rainfall occurs within a couple of days. Naturally, that large amount, excessive rainfall which occurs within a short period of time results into flood conditions and overflow water everywhere. This is known as cloudburst. You must have, if you remember, cloudburst very recently we had in 2004 in Uttarakhand, there was a severe flood, and the cloudburst created this devastating flash floods that occurred because due to heavy rainfall there was a continuous rainfall for a couple of days, and this resulted into accumulation of water at different, because Uttarakhand is basically, it lies in the mountainous regions of Himalayas, the outer Himalayas. Now there are natural embankments and bunds formed where the water was impounded, and later on due to continued rainfall and due to landslide also, all of a sudden the water was allowed to free flowly down the slopes of the mountain. That caused a devastating floods in the state, causing death of thousands and thousands of people during that period. Then we have the avalanche. Avalanche is actually can be defined as when large mass of snow that rolls down the slopes of the mountain is known as avalanche. Generally in the mountain slopes or the mountainous regions, as I told you in the beginning, the top of the mountains, they are snow capped, and due to the lapse rate they are snow capped, and due to any disturbance the snow might start rolling down. Now since there are sheets of snow lying all over the mountainous region, it starts rolling down. It causes a lot of disaster. It rolls down, tons and tons of snow rolling down at a very high speed can cause a lot of damage to life and property. So all these examples what I have given you, they all are weather related forces. All these disasters are caused because of weather related forces. Now I will discuss a few of them, which are geological forces, the disasters, natural disasters which are caused because of geological forces. First of all, you should know what is geological forces. Geological forces are those forces which operate from the interior of the earth. Like in the previous chapter number 8, in fact not previous one, the last class what I explained you all. In chapter number 8 I told you about the structure of the earth. The crust of the earth is broken into different plates and it's floating, it's sliding on the asthenosphere. Due to this movement of the plates, what we call it as tectonic movements, there are collisions between the plates and it results into tremendous release of energy. It can cause earthquakes, tsunami, and volcanic eruption. Now earthquake is what? Earthquake, it's the tremor or the shaking of the surface of the earth because of sudden release of energy from the interior of the earth. That is known as earthquake. Tsunami. Tsunami is also known as harbor waves. Tsunami occurs because of the occurrence of an earthquake on the ocean floor. Now, if the earthquake occurs on the ocean floor, the same seismic waves are generated there also, and it disturbs the water. Now in the seas and the oceans, large volumes of water are there, and these seismic waves, they start traveling at a very fast speed in all direction. It moves in all direction. Now due to the disturbing of the water and the force by which the waves are moving, it creates or generates huge waves, and a huge quantity of water comes and strikes the coast, the shores, with tremendous force, causing a lot of damage to life and property. Tsunami, I remember there was a tsunami in the year 2004. Actually the earthquake occurred, it had the epicenter somewhere in Indonesia or Sumatra Islands, and the earthquake had a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3. From there, the waves traveled, they reached up to India also. That was a devastating tsunami, because it caused nearly, means more than 2.5 lakh people died all over the world. This was a great disaster caused in the year 2004. Apart from this, we have man-made volcanic eruptions are there. Volcanic eruptions are those when a volcano erupts, it ejects the materials, the magma and the gases and the steam and the ash from the interior of the earth on the outer surface. That also causes disaster. Now, the second category of disaster is man-made disaster. Man-made disaster. Man-made disasters are those which are the results of human activity, and they are caused due to technical faults, human faults, carelessness and negligence. Now basically some examples of man-made disasters are road and rail accidents, industrial accidents, nuclear power plant accidents. Like you must have heard about Bhopal gas tragedy in the year 1984. Then we had Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in Japan in 2011, I remember. Chernobyl disaster in the year 1986. All these are certain accidents which took place mostly in the nuclear power plants. Alright. Now Bhopal gas tragedy, let me tell you, in the year 1984, Bhopal gas tragedy occurred. It occurred on the midnight of 2nd and 3rd of December 1984. In Bhopal, there was a factory called Union Carbide India Limited, UCIL. Now basically, this was a plant which manufactured, which produced pesticides, and they used a very poisonous gas which is known as methyl isocyanate. Now in the midnight of 2nd and 3rd of December, the storage tank, there was a leakage in the storage tank where this very toxic, highly toxic and poisonous methyl isocyanate gas was stored. It leaked in the night, and due to inhalation of this poisonous toxic gas, the people, they lost their lives. Not only the human beings, even the cattle and the marine aquatic ecosystem was disturbed. Even after passing of so many decades, still the children who are born, they are born with deformities because of the impact of this highly toxic poisonous methyl isocyanate gas. So such accidents also take place because of human errors, human negligence, in technical faults. For example, suppose a driver, he's driving a bus. There is a technical problem whereby he wants to apply the brakes, the brakes they fail, and naturally there may be a crash. That is a technical fault, whereby although the driver was very careful, but still due to some technical faults the brakes could not be applied and the accident took place. Every now and then we are having rail and road accidents. They all are because of either technical faults or human faults. Alright, now the next thing is disaster management. Now, what do you mean by disaster management? It is actually the organization and management of resources for dealing with the humanitarian aspects of emergencies to lessen the impact of disaster in any area. Means all that effort what we make to normalize the things in any area which has experienced a disaster, that is known as disaster management. Now basically the aims of disaster management, there are three aims of disaster management. The first one is to avoid the losses from hazard. That means basically if we come to that, reduce or avoid the